everybody, and we welcome you to this week's Ripple Effect podcast. It's good to be back in the studio today, although last week in Florida, you can't beat that, being outside, but the weather's getting better here, and so we're just happy to be here today. We're going to introduce these to you in just a second, but this is Bethany Weibert. She's one of our staff. She works in Timberlake Counseling here. And then Trevor Burris is here, and we'll be giving him a chance to introduce himself here in a second. But it's good to be here with you. This is Tuesday, April 30th, and today our sponsor of the week, although we get no money from them, is AeroPress. I was introduced to this last week at the conference we were at. I had never even seen one of these before, and it was amazing. It made a good cup of coffee. We did find out that the grind makes a big difference in the quality of what you get out of that. So there's some finesse to making the perfect cup of coffee with that. But it was awesome, and we'll talk more about that also here in a second, here today in the podcast. So last week was the end of our first segment of our 1 Corinthians series. So we've told you that we started that in April, and we're going to be going through the book of 1 Corinthians into August, but it's not going to be solid like that entire time. And so we're getting ready to take a little break from that, but we ended that segment this week. And if you weren't able to catch that, you can go online and watch the sermon, watch the service. If you didn't get to be with us Sunday, either in person or online, we encourage you to go back and see it, because we had our kids singing. We had the student worship band helping lead worship, and I thought it was an awesome Sunday. So that's kind of a little recap for this past week. We want to get into our Timberlake top 3. I'm doing most of the talking because these two aren't in the office every day, but we'll get to them, I promise, in a second. Wednesday night break is our first announcement for this week, because if you show up tomorrow night, we will not be here. And a lot of people are so depressed about Wednesday nights when we end them. Not the children's teachers, by the way. They're ready for the break. But it is, it seems like a long time. We break all the way from May until, I think, after Labor Day. So it is a long break. But people are just so hit and miss with our schedules. We have ball games starting and all kinds of stuff. And from past experience, even getting enough volunteers here on Wednesday night is really difficult. So we take a break, and we will be offering a few fun family events in the summer. And so we'll make sure and give those a shout out on here and on Sundays. And hopefully we still can stay connected through some of those events in the summer. So Wednesday night break is one thing. The other thing we wanted to mention is camp deadline. And it's not the camp deadline like the all-out deadline. It is an early bird deadline on Sunday. So you can pay the deposit if your student is coming for a full week of camp. And if you just pay the deposit, it locks you into a lower rate. And I think you save $10 per week per camper. So we like it if you register even your younger kiddos, because it just it's easier for them to plan if they have an idea of how many kids are coming. So even if you're not getting the discount, if you know your kids come to camp, please sign them up, and you can do that on the camp's website at whiteoakchristian.org, or you can pick up paper forms here at the church in the lobby. It's plastic little information center right inside the front door. We always have those brochures there. You can fill it out and give it to one of us, leave it with Miss Mary, or mail it in if you want to take it home and fill it out. There's also the online option. Like I said, you can pay and register online. You can fill out all the health forms online, and you can just get it taken care of that way if you want to pay by card. All right, the last announcement for today that I have, and then we're going to let them do some talking, is the Community Kitchen. So Community Kitchen, it functions downtown Moberly every Wednesday and Saturday. We volunteer there periodically, and the next time is sort of a Timberlake week is May 11th. It's a Saturday. There are jobs to do anywhere from about 9 a.m. through 1 p.m. You don't even have to show up the whole time. You can just show up at the serving time, or you can just show up at like the prep time, whatever works for you. But if you've never volunteered and you want to try something new and get out in our community outside of the walls of the church and volunteer with something, meet some new people, that's May 11th. And you can just contact Dawn here in the office. If you don't even know our phone number, just comment on this video wherever you're watching it or listening to it, and we'll see it and we'll get in touch with you, and you can sign up to volunteer for that. All right, those are our top 3. Wednesday night break, camp early bird deadline is Sunday, and the community kitchen coming up in a couple weeks if you'd like to volunteer. All right. So let's get to our weekly spotlight, and that's why Trevor and Bethany are here. Trevor, this is his first time being on Ripple Effect, so happy to have you here today. I'm going to take a page from Daniel's book. He's usually the host on here. But we give you 60 seconds, and you're going to tell them whatever they need to know about you, okay?
I'm glad you have a timer, because I'll go over. Okay.
He warned me about that, and he said have your timer out when you... Anyway, so we'll let you fudge a little bit if you need to, but try to keep it to a minute and introduce yourself. You can tell us anything you think they want to know about your family or whatever.
Absolutely.
All right, go.
So my name is Trevor Burris. I'm originally from the Moberly area. I grew up, born and raised here. I've been a member at this church for about 7 years now, I believe. It's a big number to say. But my wife and I have been members here. Her family's been members long before that. And so, we've kind of grown up in the church. We've been married for almost a little over 2 years now. And we have a young daughter whose name is Addison. So we have a nice little family here at the church. We try and be involved a lot in the kids' ministries and stuff like that. Professionally, I work at Caring Community Partnerships, which is a community health organization here in Moberly. And our main program that I work on is the firearm suicide prevention program. And so that is why we are partnering with Timberlake about the event that Bethany and I are getting ready to share about.
All right, perfect. 54 seconds.
Perfect.
And that was great.
Elevator speech.
It really was. So this coming weekend, right? It is this week. I think it's crazy that tomorrow is May. Yes. It's kind of sad that much of the year is gone already in a way, and we're getting ready to get into all the craziness of, like, we were going through our baseball schedule and all the times we're going to be visiting Howard Hills Park in the next couple months, and it's like crazy. But it's also an exciting time of year, and this is an event. Is this the third time?
This is the fourth, actually.
Fourth time. It says right there, fourth annual.
We're very excited.
So
best year yet.
It's my first time.
Yeah. So I was going to maybe toss it to one of you. I'll toss it to you. Give us the facts of the event, which is basically what's on here.
Absolutely.
Just the raw facts of when, where, what's happening.
So what we have here is just our event flyer. You can find this on Timberlake's Facebook page. I believe Cheryl and you all posted it. You can find it on Cheryl Botkin's Facebook page. You can find it at Lighthouse Counseling Facebook page, Caring Community Partnership Facebook page. It's at a lot of places that you can find on Facebook and just around the area. But it is from 10 to 2 this Saturday, May 4th, here at Timberlake Christian Church. We are going to have a vendor booth area set up in the auditorium and in the lobby. And from 10 to 11, you can just go around, get to meet people in our community, different service providers. They'll probably have some fun stuff to hand out to you and the kids and just have different interactive events and stuff. I know we have a few things planned, whether it's face painting, maybe some emergency personnel out here with vehicles, or some games and getting to learn about your resources. Starting at 11 a.m., we have our suicide survivors speaking. So we have 3 speakers coming up. And then along with that, the Ministerial Alliance will be helping lead us in our prayer time before we move into our lunch, which is free if you register at 12:30. And what will be following this from 1 to 2 is a Suicide Safer Homes. And this is a training. It's called Conversation for Suicide Safer Homes. That's the full name for it. And our consultant, Ann Elliott from the Lighthouse Counseling Center, is the one who puts this on. It's a completely free training, and we know that this is a very hard topic for some people to talk about. It can be super overwhelming. You don't know what to say. Somebody comes up to you and is just like, "Hey, I've been really down lately. I feel like hurting myself." Like, how do you respond to that? And so this training is all about how to have a conversation, how to make people feel safe and comfortable, and not to make it a vulnerable area. But we did ask for registrations during this, but we're more than welcome to have anybody come out and join us.
Yeah. So the registration is through Church Center. It's very easy to find that. If you go to tlcc.church and click on events, if you're a part of our church and you have the app, you can find it there. Cheryl has linked it everywhere.
Yeah,
I think
multiple times.
Anywhere you find that flyer, you can find the link.
It is linked.
So they really, in particular, need you to register in advance if you're eating lunch, if you want to have the free lunch, because they just want to know how much to prepare, like always. And the lunch is only part of the event. You don't have to come to that portion, but they figured a lot of people would want to partake of the free lunch. So anyway, you sign up online. There's no cost for it. It's just really so they have an RSVP. Now, I wanted to ask Bethany to maybe share a little bit about the purpose of an event like this. Why have we had an event like Mental Wellness Connect, not only this year, but the last 4 years? What's the why behind it?
Yeah, well, what I really love about the Mental Wellness Connect Day that we've been doing is it kind of incorporates just a holistic approach to wellness. So we want to talk about the resources that are available in the community for different ages, for different populations. But that is not just mental health, but also spiritual health. We really like to incorporate both of those and see that as kind of the whole picture, as well as physical health and emotional health, all of those things just being kind of wrapped together. And then, some people were curious about this particular focus that we're highlighting with the suicide prevention. But in the state of Missouri, like suicide is a very high rate. I'm really glad that Trevor's going to be there talking about gun safety because actually Trevor and I were on a radio program this morning talking with Ann Elliott about this same event. And we were just discussing the lethal means that people use for suicide and how dangerous it can be. And so we know that the use of firearms is really high on that list. And so talking about prevention, talking about safety regarding those things is so important. And being able to have discussions about, suicide and depression and mental health. So all of that kind of that educational component will be a part of this event as well.
Okay. Well, in general, we talk about being involved in the community,
Right.
and various individuals are involved in a lot of different ways. But one of the things that we were talking about this morning in the staff meeting are just filling gaps or meeting needs. Right. And so Daniel, of course, he usually hosts, and so he was tossing out some ideas of what to include, because we always talk about the podcast every week, and he said just while we were here, for you all to talk about what are some common needs that you notice, because you work in different areas of the community. Even here in this church building, from your office, you see way different needs than I do from my office, in the same building. What are some common needs that you see that either individuals or as a church we can help meet? Like, where do you see us filling the gap, either with an event like this or just in general?
Yeah, well, I love that Timberlake Counseling exists here through the church. I think that's meeting, like you said, some needs in the community that maybe were a gap previously. And so, I think since COVID, I think there's maybe been a lot more awareness about mental health. I mean, there was already growing awareness, but I think people are more than ever concerned about mental health and, suicide rates and isolation, people that are needing resources. And there's so many, one thing that I think is so frustrating is there's so many resources available in our community. There's great programs going on. Trevor's a part of some really great programs right now that a lot of people aren't really aware of sometimes, that these things are out there and that they have access to these things. So actually the vendors, the booths that we tend to have at these events are some of my favorite parts, because you can walk around and talk to different agencies and individuals and learn what's available that you maybe didn't know before and find some help.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, and to build on that, I think education is one of our biggest tools. Right. And so just using that in a day to inform people and just, come here with an open mindset to learn something new. And so we're going to have booths set up, and there's going to be a scavenger hunt that plays along with that. And if you complete it, you actually will be put in a raffle for a gun safe. We're not trying to tell you what to do with your life and that you can't have it. We are my program. We support it, but we want safety. We want training, and so that's the gap we're trying to fill. And having that here in Missouri, and just telling people, it's okay to talk about mental wellness. It's not something that should be hidden or something that you just let other people deal with on their own. It can be a group effort. So
Absolutely.
Well, we appreciate you both being part of filling gaps in the community. I mean, it takes everybody doing their part to meet needs like this and to, like you say, educate, inform people. I'm going to try to come to some of that. It's like always, we have Bible Bowl the same day, but there's just a ton of cool things that happen at those events. We've been able to go to a couple of them, and like you said, just walking around the booths on your own and seeing people that you see the logo of this place sometimes, or you see a van driving around with it, but you don't really know what they do. And you're like, it is very cool to network at an event like this and know what resources there are, so that if you ever need them or you need to refer somebody to these services that are available in our community, you know who they are. In a small community like ours, there are a lot of organizations that partner together to meet needs, and
very much so.
And that's part of the reason we have something like this. And we're happy as a church. I mean, we're really just providing the space, and you guys help organize it. But we hope that you'll be able to come out. That's Saturday. And again, all the details are on Facebook and on our website if you'd like to pull up that flyer. And we hope to see you there. I wanted to end today. This is our blessing challenge of the week. The AeroPress was something they used at the conference last week to make a point, and it was included in the sermon at the end. They ended up giving everybody one of these. So I don't know how much money they spent. They must have got a wholesale deal or something with them to do this. But when we came in, part of the welcoming process of the conference was somebody teaching you how to use the AeroPress, because most of us there had never seen this, knew nothing about it. Now Rachel, her family does all kinds of coffee at their house, and her husband's all about coffee, so they actually have one and she uses it. But I'd never seen it before, and so actually the guy that ended up preaching the sermon at the end was the one that taught me to use this, and that illustrated his point perfectly. He taught several people. You got a little badge saying like you were the coffee expert, a pin, and then you taught others. I was able to teach 2 other people while I was there, and didn't have any idea they were using it as illustrating his point. But he's like, in our spiritual walk, we show people, we model faith for them, and then our hope is that many of them will replicate that and make it their own and pass it on to others. And so this whole conference was about church growth, but it really was about individual growth in terms of just your relationships with people that don't already know Christ. And he said that simple example is what it is. It's like, live your faith out practically, model it for them, make sure it's not all about the words you say, and people will want to replicate those parts of your life, and they'll ask questions, and then you can pass it on to others. You can teach because they're asking the questions. You're not forcing Jesus on them. They'll just want to replicate what they see that you have. And we thought that it sounds so simple, but we make it more complicated many times. And so that's the reason I chose that as our little sponsor today, and that may find its way into a sermon here sometime or something. You never know. All right. Well, we thank you for being with us today. Thank you all for being with us, and we hope to see you Saturday for the fair. And if not, if you can't make that, we hope to see you Sunday for church. See you all later.